Everyone thinks Jay-Z is the blueprint for how artists can own their power. He built Roc Nation, bought Tidal, and told every rapper, this is how you get equity. But what if the entire foundation of that message was a lie? Because Nicki Minaj just exposed a secret that cost him $200 million and destroyed his reputation forever. On July 8, 2025, Nicki Minaj did what only Nicki Minaj can do. She broke the internet with a tweet. But this wasn't just another petty shot or vague industry shade. This was war. In an explosive post, the rap queen accused none other than Jay-Z of owing her between $100 to $200 million from the sale of Tidal, the artist-owned streaming service he once championed. She called it a karmic debt and then added, almost mockingly, that he was still in her top 5 rappers. That kind of contradiction, it wasn't random, because behind that single tweet lies nearly a decade of tension, betrayal, business drama, and personal snubs, fueled by boardroom deals, social media call-outs, and buried beef that might just be resurfacing. And what's even more surprising, this might not just be about money. Let's rewind. Back in 2015, Jay-Z made headlines after purchasing the Swedish streaming company Aspiro for $56 million. That company was then transformed into Tidal, a revolutionary platform built on the idea that artists deserve better, not just in exposure, but in equity. Jay-Z didn't go it alone. He assembled a powerful collective of superstars to stand behind the service. Nicki Minaj, Beyonce, Rihanna, J. Cole, Kanye West, Alicia Keys, Madonna, and others were paraded on stage at Tidal's dramatic relaunch, each supposedly owning about 3% of the company. The message was clear: artists united, cutting out the middleman, creating wealth and ownership for themselves. But then things got murky. Fast forward to 2021, Jay-Z sells his 80% majority stake in Tidal to Square, Jack Dorsey's fintech firm now called Block, for a jaw-dropping $297 million. Many assumed those original co-owners cashed in big, but according to Nicki, she didn't. In her words, we've calculated about $100 to $200 million so far. Jay-Z called me to settle this karmic debt. It's only collecting more interest. She claims she got just $1 million. That's it. No detailed breakdown, no full transparency, just a payout that she calls insulting given her involvement. What makes this even more controversial is that Jay-Z had spent years presenting Tidal as the artist's first alternative. Now Nicki feels like she's been shortchanged, and she's not keeping quiet about it anymore. After the tweet storm, some fans and critics began speculating. Was Nicki doing this because she's broke? She didn't wait long to clap back. In a string of follow-ups, Nicki emphasized that she was far from struggling. She pointed to her real estate investments, her new pink private jet, and teased the launch of Student of the Game, a scholarship initiative funded by whatever money she claims she's owed. She framed it not as a financial panic, but as a matter of principle. She even suggested she had been silently calculating the debt for years and now felt compelled to go public because private conversations hadn't worked. It's a classic Minaj move, mixing public pressure with poetic justice. And whether people believe her numbers or not, one thing's for sure: her fans are listening, and some major names in media are too. Just as the Tidal storm was swirling, another fire was lit. This time, it wasn't about money, it was about respect. The 2025 Super Bowl halftime show was announced. The performer, Kendrick Lamar. Nothing wrong with that. Kendrick is a generational talent, but the Super Bowl was in New Orleans, and Lil Wayne, the city's most iconic musical figure, was nowhere to be found. And that's where things got personal. Jay-Z's company, Roc Nation, has been in charge of Super Bowl music programming since 2019, and according to Nicki, his influence led to Wayne being deliberately overlooked. She didn't hold back, denying a young black man what he rightfully put into this game for no other reason but your ego. She tweeted, "Your hatred for Birdman, Drake, and Nicki got you punishing Lil Wayne, the GOAT." It wasn't just about Wayne, it was about what Nicki saw as a pattern, a gatekeeping network that Jay-Z controlled and used to sideline anyone outside of his Roc Nation circle. Lil Wayne later admitted in an interview that being passed over broke him, and the idea that Jay-Z's business grudges could impact cultural recognition, that's something Nicki and her fan base refused to ignore. But Jay-Z isn't the only one in Nicki's crosshairs. She's repeatedly aimed fire at Desiree Perez, Roc Nation's CEO, and painted her as a symbol of everything wrong with the industry's double standards. Perez, once convicted in a federal drug case in the 90s, later cooperated with authorities and served as a government informant, something Nicki has referenced multiple times. To Nicki, it's the hypocrisy that burns. How can someone with that past lead an empire that markets itself as the cultural vanguard of hip-hop? She's not subtle about her disdain. By resurfacing surfacing Perez's past, Nicki is trying to undermine Roc Nation's authenticity, painting them as powerful but fundamentally flawed, and perhaps even corrupt. Whether that's fair or not is up for debate, but for Nicki, Roc Nation isn't
Another
just a
name
business.
looms
It's
large
an
in this
obstacle.
feud.
Megan the Stallion. She's one of Roc Nation's biggest artists and someone who's had public falling outs with Nicki. While their beef has taken different forms over the years, subliminal shots in songs, cryptic tweets, or pointed interview comments, what's clear is that Nicki sees Megan as someone who benefits from Roc Nation's protection at her expense. She's hinted that Megan's rise has come at the cost of industry loyalty and that Jay-Z and Desiree Perez have actively played favorites. Nicki hasn't said it outright, but the message is there. She sees Megan not just as a rival, but as a symbol of the industry turning on her. Nicki doesn't just talk, she raps, and some of her sharpest criticisms of Jay-Z and Roc Nation have come in bars, not tweets. On the remix of Lil Wayne's Banned from No, she slid in a line that raised eyebrows. NFL, fire some men and then call us. It's a reference to the NFL's history of racial controversy, but also to Jay-Z's deal with the league. A subtle jab, not exactly, more like a lyrical dagger. Nicki knows how to craft lines that do damage without being explicit. That's her specialty, and her fans dissect every bar like gospel. What's Jay-Z said in response? Nothing. Not a word, no statement from Roc Nation, no tweets, no cryptic verses, just silence. And for someone as savvy as Jay-Z, that silence speaks volumes. Whether he sees Nicki's claims as unworthy of a response or is preparing a behind-the-scenes legal counter is unknown. But the longer he stays quiet, the more Nicki controls the narrative. Meanwhile, public figures like Aiden Ross have already offered Nicki a spot on Kick, the streaming platform competing with Twitch, promising her full creative freedom and equity if she jumps ship. Her response? Maybe I will. At first glance, this looks like a rap feud, but it's not. It's about ownership, fairness, loyalty, and the invisible power structures that shape careers in entertainment. Nicki isn't just lashing out, she's drawn a map, and at the center of it is Jay-Z, a man she once admired, a mogul she now holds accountable. This isn't just about missing money or skip performances. This is about who gets to decide who wins, who gets remembered, and who gets erased. So, what happens now? Will Jay-Z break his silence? Will lawsuits follow? Or is this just the beginning of a new era where Nicki, unfiltered and unrestricted, becomes the biggest disruptor the music industry's ever seen?